Word up, Calvary, as Jess would say. Or you just told it to me. Welcome in to the CalvaryCast, episode 87. We took a couple weeks off for, I'm not sure why, just because we do that from time to time.
No rhyme nor reason.
No rhyme, no reason. The sponsors were getting on us, though. They're, when are you guys going to put out a new episode? Come on, we're paying you big money to rep our products.
New content to bring in the dollars.
Needed some new content. So we said, all right. But when you're a podcast empire like we are, you have a little bit more pull and sway with people.
That's right.
And so we just say, it'll happen when it happens. And it's happening today. So there we go. I don't know. Oh, I have a banter question actually I was going to ask you about, because we just had Labor Day.
Yeah.
And you did a sermon, which John Piper wrote the book, Brothers, We Are Not Professionals. But you showed some professionalism in your ability to go from work to the one thing you don't work for. That was pretty good. Almost as good as the sermon outline I sent you last night, which we won't discuss on the podcast.
Yes.
Some of the others of you that received that, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that made me think, what's the weirdest job you've ever had? You said you've had a lot of jobs. How that?
Yeah, various jobs. Weirdest?
I don't know.
I don't think I've
Worst?
had anything weird. Worst job. I didn't like staying up all night, stripping down and waxing floors for grocery stores and stuff. I managed a floor care company for about a year and a half, and that was one of the big things. You'd go into like a grocery store at night, and you'd overnight all night. You're getting off all the old wax and stuff, and then you'd clean it all and you put it down. It's just exhausting, tiring. It's overnight. Didn't enjoy that very much.
That would not be very enjoyable.
No.
Okay. There you go. Little insight into.
But weird jobs, I didn't really have any weird jobs.
Not like a micro dirty jobs type thing.
Mm-mm. Nope. Nothing like that.
Okay. Very good.
Yep. I started working when I was, 13 for my first paper route. And that went to a weekend at a fast food restaurant, decided that wasn't for me at 16, and then I got my job at grocery store. Bagging groceries, and then after about a year of that, I was promoted to sprinkling the veggies. Back before they had the fancy sprinkler systems going over them, you had to stand there with a hose.
Really?
I worked in produce. Actually for a high school job, I liked that. I was kind of by myself and got to do my own thing, and that was good. Then I went in the Air Force, and I had a couple different types of jobs in the Air Force. I kept going from there.
Yeah, until you've reached the pinnacle.
The pinnacle of all employment.
It's the gospel.
Lead pastor of Calvary Bible Church.
And CEO. Oh, wait, no, that's not
and
that.
CEO, yeah. That's right.
Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today, but I just thought that'd be a fun thing. What are we going to talk about today? Our serious conversation.
Well, what did we said we needed to have a podcast that kind of talked about what we're doing for the fall.
So are you asking me what we're doing?
Well, I'm asking how we summarize what this conversation is.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what we're doing this fall and winter, as far as our ministry stuff is kind of ramping back up, and why people should be part of it. And I think that's kind of the gist.
Okay.
This is we are discussing what we're doing in the podcast.
Yeah, so we're kicking off the year. And we run a lot of our programs and such, and small groups and studies and that from September to May primarily. Yeah. And then
Labor Day to Memorial Day.
Yeah, and most of the things we take off for the summer.
Maybe we should just briefly touch on why we do that. Why do we take a long break through the summer months?
Well, I don't know. But one of the, I guess I know. There's
all right, well, see you folks later.
We tried to get into that rhythm only because, it seems like any Bible study, small group you try to keep going over to summer is always fizzling out because people are, two of your three families are traveling 1 week and then the next time they're, all those things. And so, and then also like with volunteers and things, if they have ministries like the children's ministry or youth or different things, taking time off is helpful in your ministry leaders not burning out.
Yeah.
So it's all very pragmatic,
Right.
a lot of it, and
I like. I don't think that's wrong. There's a time of resting from some of these busier seasons, and
I think so,
and
too.
I think the one thing that I've thought about it is it often gives you a renewed focus when you enter into a new season of more intentional and busier ministry, if I can use it that way.
Yes.
Right. And you're like, okay, yeah, we're geared up, we're ready to do this again.
Because you feel kind of ready to do it.
Right. You're tired of like not having as much. At least me, I'm like, man, I really miss not having these small groups and all these other Sunday nights and things like that.
I think Sunday night, like, I do miss it now too. Like you sometimes say, well, oh, this is nice. Tonight I don't come back or whatever, and that sounds bad, I guess. But I'm just saying, just realistically, I think
in your flesh.
Yeah, but it's like now that we've been off for summer, I'm bored on Sunday afternoons, and it's too long of a time, and I'm like, we should go back for an hour and a half, and that'd be fun. So it was good.
Yeah. So that actually would transition into maybe another question in relationship to this. What is our philosophy of ministry regarding programming? And by that, I mean, like when we think of church programs, you think of a lot of times Bible studies and different things like that. And some churches can be very program driven, right? There's always lots of programs going, and we're not that. And it is interesting in a way. Right now, we have more programs going than we've had in the time I've been here. But how did that come to be, and kind of what's our philosophy behind that?
Well, we've been program minimalists, is what we've called it, right? We've said programs can be helpful, but they can also become consuming and overwhelming and defeating of the purpose if there's too many. So we want to be selective in what we choose to do as a church. But now, I guess I would put under the heading of program, one program is our small group and Bible studies. Now, there may be multiple ones that are out there, but that's just one thing. That's not like multiple things we're doing. And we do that so that people can pick one, right? And we're just saying to have it do something outside of Sunday morning service. Right.
Well, because sometimes too, people might ask, why don't you have this kind of program or that kind of program? Because the other thing I'd add to this is we don't ever want to have programs just for the sake of having programs. Like we want, if there's a need, we want to pray about it and see what the Lord opens the door for, and He will provide a person that's desiring to lead that, or lead one of us or whoever to lead that, and He'll provide the people, show us the need for it. So just why don't you have Alcoholics Anonymous? I don't know, or something like that. Well, we don't have anybody that has a desire to lead a ministry like that or something like that at our church. Not Alcoholics Anonymous, essentially, but something like that. So, anyway, I thought...
And I think that's the key. Like, sometimes a program, if it's going to begin, like, other than the small group Bible study models, right? Or a children's ministry, something, but some of them... Like it's not like we just want to get an idea and then do it. I feel like it should be something that it seems like the Lord's leading, and okay, it's time for you to do this. Right. We've tried to do certain things in the past in certain groups and that, and it didn't work. And then all of a sudden, it comes to fruition. Right.
And it works.
And then it works.
Yeah.
Right.
The Lord's timing. So yeah, that's where hopefully people will help, or that'll just help people think about how we start the programs that we do and why we don't start others, and why we're kind of slow.
Very slow.
Intentionally slow.
Intentionally slow, yeah.
Haste makes waste. Okay, another question I have with this, because I was thinking about this. We're talking about programs and all. I think this relates to it. If you could envision, what does a healthy member of Calvary Bible Church look like? And a member, maybe you're not a member, you're a regular attender, though you consider this your church home. And this question struck me because I think sometimes maybe people don't know what to aim for, in a sense, right? They're not well acquainted enough with their Bible to understand all the biblical commands or exhortations as far as what a healthy church member looks like. So could we summarize, if you're a part of Calvary Bible Church, this is what our understanding of a healthy church member looks like and how you might fulfill that role here.
I would say we would want to differentiate then between a church member, what they're doing, and just a Christian and how you're growing in your Christian walk. And not talk about how you're growing in a Christian walk, because that's going to be, what does that look like? Well, people growing in the fruit of the Spirit, right? Displaying love, and faith is growing, joy in the Lord, Bible, you know, those types of things.
Yes, good differentiation.
So, but a church member, what they're doing on a weekly basis, right? Well, first of all, they're at the worship service 99% of the time, because that's just the structure of their week, is looking forward to that morning worship time where God's people are assembled and we go through our liturgy and we worship God. So they're regularly attending that. And then in addition to that, they have chosen at least one outside Sunday morning activity or outside Sunday activity, because a healthy church member is going to come back at 5:00 on Friday Sunday, and they're going to be a part of the Sunday teaching there. So
why?
Well, I think that largely it's because they're doing what we said as members. When you become a member, you're going along with the general direction, philosophies, and that of the leadership. And the reason we have these Sunday evening gatherings again, this time talking about the doctrine of God from me, so a theology class from you going through parenting. The reason we do that is because we think the church profits from it, and that there is another point and connection of teaching throughout the year, and it's not even the whole year. You get breaks and you get the summer off. And I think a healthy church member is going to say, okay, my leadership thinks this is important for me. It's good for me to, as the Bible says, Hebrews says, gather all the more frequently as you see the day approaching. It's important. And you're just learning and you're growing in your knowledge. So that's important. And I would say that barring certain circumstances that some people just can't, or whatever it may be, some people don't come out at night, some people, their work schedule, or I don't know, could be a number of things. They don't, but I'm saying in the main, I would come to both of those. But number one priority is a Sunday morning. Then that. And then the other thing they're doing is they're choosing one outside Sunday small group or Bible study, or a men's group or whatever we have going on, ladies group,
some smaller group. For fellowship and community building.
And if you think about how simple at ours is, it's made pretty simple, because we've got stuff going on every week. But if you just join one of the regular small groups, then you're only going to meet with them once every other week. It's not a massive commitment. It's one night, once every other week,
a couple hours.
And we're saying that's important because now you've got people who know you. And you're praying together, you're reading the Bible together, those kinds of things, and just fellowshipping and having a relationship with one another beyond Sunday morning.
So then I'll ask the why question of that. Like, why do we think that outside of the Sunday morning, those other gatherings are important, are vital for any church member, but especially as we think about our local church, this is really important.
Right. Well, I think it's because to God, the one another's, the relationships of one another's, knowing one another, loving one another, praying for one another, serving one another is as emphasized as any other aspect of the Christian walk. And so those are the avenues where you can know and others and be known. It's hard. I mean, on Sunday mornings, you can know people and you should learn to know people. You can introduce yourself to people you don't know, have some good conversations, meaningful conversations. But ultimately, I think that many churches have found that those smaller group Bible studies, or small groups, Bible studies, fellowship groups, growth groups, whatever you call them, these have been the most meaningful relationally to them in the church for most.
Because, I mean, if you're if you're early to church here, right, you're showing up a half an hour early, and you're going to have a few conversations with people. And then if you're like a number of people, we stick around for an hour pretty regularly after church, and you have a lot of shorter conversations with people, just kind of saying hello, sometimes going a little bit deeper, but not always. But yet, like on a Wednesday night, I mean, we usually go, it's 8:30 or 9, so we're almost 3 hours by the time our small group gets done. You can have a lot more conversation with a smaller group of people around a meal, things like that. And that's fulfilling commands from Scripture, being obedient to it in that way. And it's good for our spiritual health to be living amongst brothers and sisters and sharing our joys and sorrows and learning more about one another. And here's the other thing I'd add to it too. That takes time. Like, if you're joining a small group for the first time this year and you think by like week 2, you should just like be pouring your hearts out here. It takes time to get to that.
Yes.
And it may not always be that way, but there's still spiritual good that comes from that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, if you have something going on in your life unique, you go to, it wouldn't be appropriate necessarily usually on a Sunday morning to bring it up.
Right.
But something that's concerning you or something you're walking through. But you go to a small group or Bible study, everybody's going to love that you say,
right,
hey, can you guys pray for me about this?
Yep.
And I'll bet you most of them in the group are going to pray for it, remember it, and talk to you about it next time.
They better.
They should,
I think that's
but they
like,
will. I don't think you have to tell our people to do
No.
that. They love hearing. That's one way they feel like they can serve one another. And
yes.
And so I think like those types of things do build relationship.
Right.
There is another way. I know some people in our congregation became really good friends through ministry. So in other words, they were serving in the same ministry for a while, or they took on a project together and that. And I think that's important. That's the other thing that we should bring out, like in church membership. I trying to find a way in which you serve the body in either one of the programmatized ways or the cleaning crew or music or whatever. But there's also other ways in which you are just ministering to the body and bringing a meal or different things. Yeah. And you get to know people through that, or they get to know you.
And then extended, I always think one of the greatest benefits of VBS is actually people working with other people in our church. It's not even for the kids as much as it is for people in our church to have opportunity to work together for an entire week, longer periods of time. Yeah, you're busy with stuff, but there's a commonality there, and there are other ministries where you can serve in that way. So,
and I think, I go along with Eugene Peterson on this. One of the most important things relationally among people is to know your name. And he was known for getting to know people's names.
Yes.
So he would never pastor a congregation beyond what he could remember everybody's name.
Yep.
He taught at what school was that up there in Washington?
Is he at Western Seminary or something like that?
In Vancouver. Anyway, he's up there, and he would learn his students' names before they would even think he would know their names. Because being his idea was being known is very important.
Yes.
And there's something to that.
And I was just going to say, there's something to saying, like if Calvary's your church family, there's something to being known here. Other people know who you are, and you know who others are. And that doesn't happen apart from simple things like, I know their name. Right? That's a starting place for a relationship. So I think, that's crucial to what is a fully healthy member of Calvary Bible Church? I think it's trying to know at least who everybody else is by name
and be known.
Which
is terrifying to many people.
Right.
They don't want truly. I mean, I think that's true. Like a lot of people struggle with being known.
Yeah.
And they want to just live their own life. And I can sympathize with that because I'm wired that way. I could be that way. So that's where the gospel comes in and says, no, this isn't the way. That's not the way it works.
Right.
You are now Romans 12 members of one another.
Yes.
Knowing and being known.
Right.
Not just by God in your relationship with Him, but His people.
Right.
It's so interconnected in that way. And that's why for our small group leaders, our Bible study leaders, so if you call it a Bible study, I'm okay with that. I like Bible study. But you're Bible studying together in the sense that and you're getting people together in this smaller group for the purpose of Bible study, but make sure there's fellowship involved in that somehow, right?
Right.
So even if you're transferring content to the other people as a teacher in a Bible study, and you try to find opportunities for people to, maybe it's breaking up into prayer groups, or whatever, and because part of fellowship is not just studying the Bible, but it's studying the Bible together.
Right.
It's talking about God together.
Right.
And in that there is relationships building.
Yeah. So here's a challenge then, I guess, to our people is seek to make yourself known by introducing yourself to people you don't know. And I think this is especially important because we're in a season where there's new people coming into our church regularly and finding out who those are. But then there's also people that have been in our church probably for a long time and haven't met one another, right? And let's not let that happen, because here's the other thing too. This is ministry opportunity. You don't know how you could be a blessing to somebody else if you don't even know them. You know, I talked a couple weeks ago about singing, and if you don't sing, you don't know how you might be missing out on an opportunity to minister to somebody else, because just by the act of singing, you're declaring God's truth. And if somebody else knows you and sees how you're walking through a trial in life or whatever, and you're singing a glorious truth, how that's a blessing. The same thing, like if I don't know somebody, right, I'm missing out on the opportunity. They can be a real blessing and encouragement to me, you know, as I learn their story and I learn how they're walking with God and the example they are, all those things. That's just ministry. That's how God's designed it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Do that. Okay, so then should we talk about just briefly like what the programs are that we're starting up this season?
So Sunday evenings.
In
the main auditorium, I'm teaching on the doctrine of God. So it's a theology night. It's going to be good. I'll have you out by 6 every week. I've made that commitment, unless something really weird happens. And I think theology is important, and I'll make that pitch Sunday night in systematizing theology.
Now, here's one thing, because I think some people go, oh man, theology.
It's going to be heavy.
It's going to be heavy. The doctrine of God, my brain just can't handle that. Why should they come?
Because I'm going to try to teach like R.C. Sproul.
We talked about this earlier.
No, in the way that he could not make it that way.
Yes. If you've never listened to R.C. Sproul, go listen to R.C. Sproul.
Or on YouTube, you can watch him in his little classrooms there at their church.
Yes.
I think that was at, and where a lot of those were put together. And he could, in like 30 to 35 minutes, explain this.
Oh, make just a very complex thing simple.
So I'm going to try to be that way, so that you're not going, oh my goodness, this is too much.
Right.
And because if it's too much for you, it's too much for me. Because I'm not. You're not super brilliant, right? So I need to do this. So I'm going to try to make it that way. But also, theology is important in the doctrine of God. This is the whole foundation of who we are and what we do is God.
Yeah.
So understanding Him and being able to kind of pull together some the verses that teach about who God is and what He does, I think is most important.
And you're going to, in R.C. Sproul fashion, wear sweater vest and write on a chalkboard.
Maybe.
Because
Did
as
he
you
wear
said,
a sweater vest?
A lot of times.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could do that.
Very professorial.
I don't know about a chalkboard, but maybe we'll get a
if anybody
whiteboard.
has a big chalkboard, please let us know. We'd like that because we just like the sound.
Yeah.
And then as you said earlier, if you write something on a chalkboard, nobody can argue with you.
That's right.
Like, what you can't argue with that.
So that, and then we're going to
be doing for 12 weeks. So it's just for the first till December, going through Ted Tripp's material, Shepherding a Child's Heart. And so the way we're going to do that, there's a less than 30-minute video that we'll watch. And then there'll be 30 minutes of discussion around the video and the book. So people need to be reading the book. That will help you the most and give us things to discuss. And it's just really helpful foundational material for parenting, no matter what stage you're in. And so a number of people are signed up to do that. So it will be good too.
Yeah. All right, good. And you won't know about God, but at least you'll know about parenting because that's at 5:00 on Sunday night too, right?
Same time, 5:00.
No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so we got that. The children's ministry will be going on at the same time. They've got it'll be more condensed this year. I think it's an hour long to
5 to
match
6.
what we've got going on.
Yep.
And so and then of course youth it kicks in, and it's going to be from 5 to 6:30. So if you've got kids in the child program and then in the youth, that's the only thing. You got to hang out for an extra 20.
Oh, shucks. You have to obey the command of fellowship together.
Yeah, you'll have to fellowship purposely afterwards till 6:30. Or yank your kids early or something. I don't know.
No, because if they yank them early, then I don't get
they
to teach.
lose the lesson because
Right.
I'm going to
catechize them.
You're going to teach them catechism.
Which actually relates to what we were talking about earlier. And just, I asked the question of why do we gather on Sunday nights? And you were talking about teaching. And I was just, the word catechism comes from the Greek katekeo, which is to instruct or to teach. Mm-hmm. So that's just one of the foundational things of a Christian is that other Christians teach other Christians.
Yes.
And so that's what we're going to be doing to the youth, but we're going to be instructing them in a systematic way, basic truths of the Bible. Like the first question is, who is the first and best of beings? And it's God. And they need to understand that. So
yeah,
that'll be happening on Sunday nights.
It's interesting. Paul told Timothy, let's see, 1 Timothy 4, he's talking about teaching. Practice these things, immerse yourself in them so that all may see your progress. Keep a close watch on yourself and on the teaching. Persist in this, for by so doing you will save both yourself and your hearers. That's interesting. So in the teaching itself, God uses it to save us. And he's not talking about just right there, the first time you come to faith in Christ, evangelism. He's talking about the teaching that's ongoing that Timothy's given himself to, and it's saving Timothy as he's learning about God and the gospel and how it applies, and it's saving the people that hear him. So that's another pitch to come back out on Sunday nights.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, here's important. For my class, if you can't make it back on Sunday nights, they will be recorded and it's live streamed. It's going to be on the YouTube channel.
But that's not an excuse.
Don't use it as an excuse.
Get here.
Yeah, but I recognize life. I recognize people are in different stages of life and things going on.
Some people are ill right now and they can't come out regularly.
That's right.
And so we want to provide that so they can still participate and learn.
Yeah.
Even from those situations. Okay, so that's Sunday nights. Should we talk about the other things that are going on?
Yeah. Then there's the regular weekly Thursday morning Bible study, 10 a.m. Dave Carrico's leading that. I think they're going through Galatians first, and that's going to be good. And then Dale Dibble has on Tuesdays a ladies gathering study.
She calls it Ladies Pray and Praise.
Praise, and prayer and all those things that go on in that. And that's fellowship going on for ladies, and that's at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. And then we've got a new ladies' Bible study starting in the evenings.
Which this is an answer to prayer. Like we were talking earlier about programmatizing stuff, and we've had so many people say, we need a ladies' Bible study, the meets in the evening and stuff.
Yeah.
And we said, that'd be great. And then the Lord provided Loretta.
Yep. So Loretta will be leading that, and they're going through Colossians, which is pretty cool.
And they start tonight.
That is tonight. Very good. Okay. And then... And that's last night, probably, if you post this. No, today is Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. It'll be posted here in a hot minute.
In the chance that you listened to this and you weren't signed up, just come out tonight. All right, so that's going on. And then there's 3 other small groups meeting.
And the college group.
Right, so college group
adults.
is a little different. It's college, young adult, it's a small group, meets every other week.
Starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, and then the other on the other weeks, you'll have to get this all done. But there's 3 more small groups. Unfortunately, mine's filled up now.
Almost all of them have it really filled up.
They're pretty much filled up.
But here's the deal: if you didn't get signed up for one and you want to be in one, let us know, and we will make a running list of all those who want to be in a small group but weren't able to. Because again, we're slow in starting new groups, so we just wait till the Lord providentially provides and things like that. So if we have a group of people that want, we will. Pray the Lord provides
we'll
a leader.
We'll eventually start another
group.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And I think I heard when we're going to have one more Bible study probably coming in October.
We'll wait to reveal that.
We will wait to reveal it. So if you're not in one now, that could be the one that you could jump into.
Yeah.
It might be helpful for you. That'll start in October.
Edge of the seat.
So that's it.
Is that everything?
I think that's all of our study fellowship type
starting up.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else to say on that?
That's all I got to say about that.
One other thing, sometimes for people that are newer to the church, I don't know if anybody that's newer to the church is listening to this, but if they are, and you're asking the question, how do I get involved? Well, some of the things we talked about I think are applicable, right? Come, seek to make yourself known, and try to get involved in one of these ministries, and it just takes time. Yeah. And
Yeah, don't be discouraged if it takes time.
No.
And watch the videos online about
Membership
on YouTube,
and
about
stuff.
membership.
Become a member.
Become a member. And then
In October, we'll take members in again.
Yeah, but we need to meet with you real quick then here. So
We got a month.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's what you do.
That's what you do. All right. Well, that's it. We hope the podcast has been helpful. Throw out, if people have topics they want us to cover, send them in. Maybe we'll talk about it. I don't think we've ever actually gotten a request for a topic. That's really sad. Mm-hmm. So send us, you got a passage of scripture or something. Maybe we'll address it.
Be careful what you ask for.
Be careful what I ask for. But sometimes it's nice to have guidance, right? Because sometimes we're like, what do we talk about? I don't know. So if somebody said, hey, would you talk about this? Then we could talk about it. And if it's bad, we'll blame it on the person that sent the question in.
That'd be the way to do it.
That'd be the way to do it. So, well, we hope this conversation has been helpful and an encouragement and insightful for those who are part of Calvary Bible Church. Our desire through the podcast is that our church would be better equipped to know and love the Lord. Again, if you have questions or comments or a topic, send it to thecalvarycast@gmail.com. If you're a part of our church, you can give us a call or send us a text or come and talk to us anytime. At Calvary, we exist for the glory of God, the good of his people, and the Great Commission. Until next time.